Hello, friends. This is Mac Payne, founder, owner, and operator of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast, where we bring you news about the Vietnam War and the brave veterans who served there, as told to you by yours truly, a Vietnam veteran. In this short video, I come to you with big news. I have just published another podcast episode over at the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. This one is episode number 3353. That means I have done this introduction 3,353 times. Sooner or later, I'm going to get it right. But regardless, I will still have fun doing it. In this podcast episode, I share with you a story out of the great state of Utah. That's right, out near Salt Lake City. The former home of the best commander I ever had in the Army, Major Richard L. Mills. He has gone on to receive his rewards, but he was a great one, and everybody who served under him will miss him like I do. It was a privilege to serve with Major Mills. He was a good one. But time moves on. I am now here to tell you about this podcast episode I just published that has to do with one of the worst hangovers from the Vietnam War. And that was our unbridled use of chemical herbicides over there. Most people know them as Agent Orange. There was also an Agent Blue and other agents. Agent Orange is the one we're most familiar with. Our use of Agent Orange in that war has resulted in the death of tens of thousands of Vietnam veterans, and many are still dying to this day. There were numerous medical conditions connected to exposure to Agent Orange. It is still killing Vietnam veterans today. It's too bad back in 1962, when the decision was made to use Agent Orange and others in Vietnam, they didn't consider the fact that it could hurt humans. Apparently, the decision makers back then figured, well, if a few people get sick, we'll just send them to the VA hospitals. Apparently, they figured that the benefits gained from using Agent Orange would greatly outweigh the few people that would get sick. Very seldom in history have people made bigger mistakes of judgment. We have to deal with it today. In this podcast episode, I talk about what the people out there in Utah are doing to remember the Vietnam veterans who died as a result of exposure to Agent Orange. It's a great story, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Another reason I'm sharing it with you is to make sure we never forget the results of our use of herbicides in a war. You know what they say, those who don't know history will be doomed to experience it again. So hopefully we've learned our lesson about herbicides in warfare. And in the future, we'll remember those lessons. That's the reason I continue to feature these stories on my podcast, so that we can know what went wrong and make better decisions in the future. That's why I'd like you to listen to episode number 3353. I made it easy for you. I've set up 3 ways you can quickly and easily access that podcast episode. You don't need to go wandering around the internet or Google or whatever, searching and searching. It is already available to you with these 3 easy methods I've set up just for you. The first and easiest and quickest is to merely scroll down below this 1965 version of a Philco TV set. In there, you should find a live link that will take you straight to that episode, and you can start listening to what the good people out in Utah are doing to set up an Agent Orange memorial. But if you cannot locate that live link on the device you're watching this video on, as Crocodile Dundee would always say, no worries. All you've got to do is go to this URL, VietnamVeteranNews.com. Click on episode 3353, and you can be listening immediately. But wait, there's more. I have set up a third way you can easily access this podcast episode, and that is with a QR code. If you're familiar with them, you know how efficient they are in locating a website. If you don't use QR codes, now is a good time to start, because I've created one just for you that'll take you straight to this podcast episode. If you want to go that route, I will put this QR code up at the end of this short video and leave it up so you'll have plenty of time to get out your phone, turn on the camera, point it toward the QR code, click the button, and be listening immediately. So there you have it. 3 easy ways to access this podcast episode about the new Agent Orange Monument in Utah. Before you go over and listen to this episode, please do me a big favor. Like this video. The more people who like the video, the more often YouTube will put it up on their channel on the internet, and more people will see it. That's the goal. Another way you can help is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will help too. So there you have it. News, I have just published a new podcast episode, and 3 ways that you can easily access it. So please go and listen to it. If you have decided to use the QR code route to this podcast episode, here is the code, and I will leave it up so you'll have plenty of time to link to it. So go for it. Were you able to link up with that QR code? If not, no worries. I'll leave it up a little longer to give you plenty of time to get out your phone, turn on the camera, point it toward the code, click the button, and be listening immediately to that podcast episode. So here it is. Go for it some more. The time has come to close out this short video where I invited you to go over and listen to podcast episode number 3353 at the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk soon.